I attended university in the era before cell phones were common. My university was in a picturesque town surrounded by other picturesque towns, with many parks with scenic hiking trails. My favorite thing to do when I was stressed out and needed a break was to go hiking. I'd throw on my hiking boots, put my journal in my backpack, and go to one of my favorite hiking spots. I never left a note for my roommate because I didn't want her to tell anyone where I was. This was my time away from my busy life, so I didn't want any well-meaning friends intruding upon it. One late fall day, I drove to my favorite park about 20 minutes away. I took a short hike to a creek surrounded by rocks. I sat down on a large rock and began writing in my journal. I was enjoying the sounds of nature and the babbling stream. Then I heard from a distance a whistle, like the kind someone would do when calling their dog, but distinctly higher pitched. I heard the whistle again, but it was closer. I looked around, expecting to see a dog or a pet owner around, but there was no one. I shouted, "Hello?" but no one responded. I waited a few minutes. Then I heard another whistle, exactly the same as before. I got up, panicking, and looked further. Then I heard a snicker. I still saw no one, so I ran back down the trail and to my car with my keys in one hand, journal and pen in the other. Winter came, so I didn't go hiking again until spring. By then, I had forgotten about the bizarre whistling incident. I once again hiked to my favorite creek. Feeling adventurous, I got closer to the creek and put my hand in the cool water. I was crouching down, away from view, and just enjoying watching the water, feeling the coolness of it, and thinking how happy I was that spring was here. I started daydreaming about where this cold creek water came from. Did it melt from the snowy mountains nearby? When suddenly, I heard that same high-pitched whistle sound, which snapped me out of my little daydream. Surely no one can see me crouched down here, surrounded by rocks. Then another distinctive, high-pitched whistle, followed by that same snicker I had heard months before. I quickly made my way back to my car. All the while, the whistling seemed to follow me. I vowed never to return there again. The end of the spring semester had me stressed out again from days of studying for finals. As soon as I was done with my last final, I decided to go on another hike. Since I was still freaked out about the whistling incident, I decided to check out a different park. One I heard had beautiful views and an abandoned garden. I carefully studied the map at the head of the trails because it was early on a weekday and my car was the only one in the lot. I didn't want to get lost out here all alone. I began my hike in search of the garden, and when I finally arrived, I was in awe of the beautiful stone stairs which led to the abandoned garden above. The view was extraordinary. I felt like I could see for miles from the height of the garden. An old stone fence kept me safe from the cliffs below. I spent about a half hour just admiring the view and walking along the stone border when a high-pitched whistle startled me. I froze. Could it be? No, I'm many miles away, alone on the top of this cliff. Then again, that same high-pitched distinctive whistle. Is there a local animal who makes this noise? I turned around, searching for the source of the sound, and then I heard that eerie snicker. Definitely not an animal, because what animal besides humans could whistle and laugh? I sprinted back down the stone stairs, searching and searching for the source of the mysterious sounds. I heard the snicker again. Is he enjoying watching me panic? I raced through the woods, down the mountain, all the while feeling and hearing someone large chasing me, whistling and snickering behind me. With my heart racing, I made it to my car, which was still the only one in the lot, and I sped away, tears streaming down my face. I told no one, because it seemed silly to be afraid of a noise in the woods, and how stupid of me to go hiking by myself, a lone female in the woods. Summer came, and I was one of the few students who stayed on campus to take summer classes. The first night there, 20 of us who didn't really know each other went out to dinner. One of my new friends, I'll call him Tyler, seemed to take a liking to me. Tyler seemed really nice, intelligent, and classy. We spent all our free time together, so I didn't go hiking at all that summer. When fall classes started again, Tyler and I moved into dorms located very far apart. As was the university custom, there was an outdoor social event the night before classes started. Reunited with my friends who had gone home for the summer, I was mingling with them when I heard that exact same high-pitched whistle that had scared me while hiking. Startled, I looked around and saw Tyler waving at me. I walked up to him and told him that his whistle startled me. Then he snickered. It was exactly the same snicker I had heard in the woods. Could it have been him following me in the woods? I was curious, so I asked him, "Tyler, do you like to hike?" My blood ran cold as he replied, "I know you do," with a snicker.
My fiancé and I broke up after 6 years. I took 2 months away from dating to heal and try to get over her. When the 2 months were over, I decided to try online dating. I came across a profile of a woman. Let's call her Tammy, because that's her name. Her interests were almost lockstep with mine, and she had a passion for hiking, which I'm obsessed with. So I made contact with her. First by email. I liked that so much. I asked for her phone number, and many texts and phone calls ensued. I couldn't wait to talk to her after work, so I went all in and asked her out on a date. I asked her to go on a hike with me. She suggested Breakneck Ridge, a 10-mile loop trail, and my absolute favorite trail. We decided to go on a Sunday evening. I met her at the trailhead. She was a little bigger body-wise than I thought a woman that hikes as much as she does should be, but her eyes and smile were intoxicating, so we started our hike. At the half-mile mark, Tammy started to have stomach cramps, but she was a real trooper and soldiered on. For the next quarter mile, Tammy started to fall a bit behind. I got to the top of the crest so I could look down the hill and see how hard it would be to shortcut back to our cars, because she was not going to make it back walking on the trail. I shifted my gaze away from her for a few minutes when I heard a big commotion. Then I heard Tammy let out a big scream. When I turned around, I was maced. The burning was so bad, I fell to my knees. All I could think was, "Is Tammy okay?" I was punched in the jaw. I heard a woman with a very familiar voice say, "Tie his hands behind his back." It was Elena, my ex-fiancée. Elena was demanding her ring and money. The man that maced and hit me was Elena's brother, Juan. My heart leapt when I saw Tammy was okay. It broke again when I found out she was married to Juan. It was getting dark, and my 3 captors began to argue about how to force me to unlock my phone. I slipped down the hill and into the dense forest. I ran as long as I could as darkness fell. I took a break to rest. I was exhausted, but that turned out to be a big mistake. I could hear every rustle of branches, every snapping twig, every owl hoot. Since it was pitch black, I had to keep moving. My only source of light was the moon. The more tired I became, the more every tree started to look alike. The sweat on my hands and wrists meant the rope was digging further into my skin. Just before daybreak, the morning fog made it impossible to see. But finally, I made it to the parking lot. As I approached my car, I heard a twig snap. My head jerked around to see a night custodian doing garbage pickup. He helped me cut the ropes from my hands and called the police. The memory of that night will forever haunt me. It serves as a reminder that even in the serenity of nature, darkness could lurk, and one must always be wary of the true intention of others.
When I was a freshman in college, at a very large university in the Northeast, I loved to hike the many trails that surrounded the school. I am from a very rural part of New York, and a walk in the forest always calmed me, especially in the winter. None of my friends or my roommate enjoyed hiking, so I did it a lot on my own. I never really had any problems until October. I went hiking one Friday. It was not dark yet. I was walking on the trail and began to hear leaves crunching in the woods beside me. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure dressed in black walking just behind me, not on the trail. When I sped up, they sped up. I turned, they turned. I began to get a little scared, so I headed back to my dorm. When I crossed the footbridge, they had disappeared. I was a little frightened. I wasn't going to let this jerk ruin something I loved so much. The next day, I got up early and went hiking. It was nerve-wracking, but no person in black. When I came back from Thanksgiving break, snow was falling on the campus. I love hiking in the snow. I got my boots on and went out to hike. About 10 minutes in, I heard a twig snap in the woods beside me. The person was back. I turned around to head back towards school and began to trot. They started running to keep up, so they got ahead of me. To my surprise, they never tried to go on the trail. They stopped and stayed right behind, except in the woods. When I got to the footbridge to my dorm, they disappeared. After I crossed the bridge and looked back, they were standing on the bridge. I ran as fast as I could to get to my third-floor dorm. As soon as I got to my room, I looked out the window, and they were staring at me from the bridge. I saw them wipe the snow from one shoulder as I was calling campus police. My roommate got back from Thanksgiving break and agreed to watch them while I talked to campus police. When I was done, I kept watch over them. Campus police arrived and grabbed the person, only to find it was a mannequin. I told the campus police I saw them brush snow off themselves. They said my mind must be playing tricks on me, and quickly left. My roommate's boyfriend, Steve, came over with his friend Andy to calm us down that night. His friend Andy seemed to really understand what I was going through. We talked for hours that night and started dating soon after. Fortunately for me, he enjoyed hiking. We talked on the phone every day during winter break. When we got back to school in January, Andy and I hiked almost every day. Andy and Steve were both on the baseball team, and practice started at the end of January. On the day of Andy's first home baseball game, I walked alone through the woods to get to the baseball stadium. 5 minutes into the walk, there they were, dressed in black, following everything I did. On this day, they seemed way more aggressive than usual, coming way closer and almost grabbing me on several occasions. They slipped away into the crowd when I got to the baseball stadium. This was the last time I saw them. Despite the passing of 18 years, their identity remains shrouded in darkness, forever etched into my memories as an enigma that continues to haunt me. But as the years pass and the search for answers continues, I can't help but wonder if some secrets are better left buried in the depths of those dark woods, where the line between reality and nightmare blurs, and where the figure in black forever remains a chilling reminder of the terrors that can lie hidden in the forest.